You're listening to the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information. The views and opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily represent those of the network, its advertisers, owners, or sponsors.
Thank you for clicking play. This is the one and only IT in the D Show, episode 234. Guest this week, and we are jam-packed. We got Ming Chen in studio from AMC's Comic Book Men.
We are never getting rid of this guy.
We're not letting him go.
Ming, the bowl of milk Chen, is in studio. We're going to be hanging out with him, talking about Astronomicon and a whole bunch of stuff, what's going on. Segment number 2, we got Doug Copley in the house. He is the evangelist and the, advisory CISO for Duo Security.
Little company. Some of you might have heard about.
Yeah.
Just a couple guys.
Yeah.
Talking about kicking Silicon Valley's ass. And then segment 3, we got Greg Garrett in the house. He's the CEO for CGS Advisors, talking about disruption and innovation and a new book he's writing on Connected World.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that discussion.
Great.
But hey, we demand a lot out of our databases, and our databases demand a lot out of us.
Do you demand a lot out of your databases?
I scream. With Cloud Spanner on Google Cloud Platform, database architects get a fully managed relational database that's both globally consistent, scales horizontally across data centers, and speaks SQL. Instead of endless provisioning and worrying about maintenance, you can focus on growing your business. Do us a favor. Click to learn more about Cloud Spanner. Visit g.co/get-spanner. That's g.co/get-spanner.
Are you confused this week why they have G.co?
No, I know they're Google. They get G.co. You may fire when ready.
You're listening to the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information.
Following program is intended for mature audiences.
I'm Wyatt, that's Gary, you're Bob, and you're Dave. This is the IT and the D Show.
This is Max Headroom. And what you're about to witness is one of the most sinister-sounding intros to a trailer to one of the greatest epics ever.
This is Billy D. Williams. Bob and Dave and I are enjoying a Colt 45 right now. And remember, IT in the D, it works every time.
Hello, everybody. This is Ming Chen from AMC's Comic Book Men. I'm a techie. I'm a nerd, fellow podcaster. My favorite podcast is IT in the D.
Just where do you guys think you are?
The Library of Congress?
Detroit? Beyond the sun?
Any of those, right?
Take him to Detroit. No, not Detroit. No, please. Anything but that. No.
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Then don't come. Shut up.
Hi, this is Christy Swanson, and you're listening to the IT in the D Show. And Bob and Dave touch my hoo-hoos.
What happens when you tap the angry beaver in the bunghole?
Exactly.
Come on.
Someone tries. What the hell with this? I'm calling a break. We'll come back to the show.
This is Guilfoyle from Silicon Valley, and the only two guys I hate more than Dinesh are Bob and Dave. Suck it, guys.
What's up, everybody? This is Billy Zapka. Sweep the leg. Listening to IT in the D Show. No mercy.
I may have to wipe the geek off.
My name is Michael Zapsik from AMC's Comic Book Men. You're listening to IT in the D. Com.
Are we at a break yet?
Hey, what up? This is Jay Muse, and you're listening to the IT and D Show. Snooch to the nooch. Listen, Muse, Snoogans.
Hi, I'm Ernie Hudson, and you're listening to IT and the D. All you nerds out there.
Nerds.
What is a nerd?
I'm a nerd, and I'm pretty proud of it.
Hey guys, it's Brian O'Halloran. You may know me from such great films as Clerks, Mallrats, Chasing Amy, Clerks 2. You guys are listening to the IT and the D Show.
Hey Detroit, this is Anthony Michael Hall. You're listening to my buddies Bob and Dave on IT in the D.
This is Scott Steiner, Big Pump. IT and the D Show is your hookup. Holler if you hear me.
Hey, what's up? This Booker T, 5-time WCW champ, WWE Hall of Famer, and you're listening to IT and the D. Now, can you dig that, sucker?
You're in your underwear? I'm in my underwear. Here, let's hang out.
No, I'm sorry, honey. I have a headache.
I definitely want to see Bob in his underwear. That's a fact.
Hey, everybody. This is Tony Todd. What's happening? You may know me from Candyman, The Rock, Sushi Girls, Zoom, Night of the Living Dead. A lot of pop culture media madness.
Anyway, you're listening to IT in the D show. Business.
I'm totally into Dave, but not so much Bob.
All right, this is Bruce Pritchard. You're listening to, what the hell, the IT in the D show? What kind of name is that? But just in case you were wondering, I do love you.
This is Robert Hayes, a Ted Stryker to my mother. When I'm not hanging out at the Magumbo bar, I'm listening to the IT and the D show. It's worse than Detroit.
Is there such thing as a meat hangover?
I love my Monday meat stick.
Hey, folks, this is WWE Hall of Famer Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and you're listening to the IT and the D show. Tough guy. Ho!
Hi, this is Kelly LeBrock from Weird Science.
So,
Bob and Dave.
what would you little maniacs like to do first?
The question isn't what are we going to do, the question is what aren't we going to do.
Ludicrous speed! Sir, had you better buckle up? Buckle this! Ludicrous speed! Go!
Day 4 of competition saw the luge doubles take place at the sliding centre.
Nighttime at the Whistler Sliding Centre, and Patrick Leitner and Alexander Resch were about to slide down the Olympic track in the double luge. This was a pair that had competed together for well over a decade and knew what it took to win.
Pressures and off hard, takes a tap.
The top 5 sleds within a second of each other, but the Italians looked firm favourites.
And towards the bottom, they clawed back a little time.
Goodness me. They went in the transition.
All eyes now on the Italian pair.
Welcome to episode 234 of the one and only IT and the D show. We're broadcasting live here in Studio One in Podcast Detroit in beautiful Royal Oak, Michigan. This is Bob the Sales Guy. That giggling fool is Dave the Gig. Ming Chen from AMC's Comic Book Man is sitting in for Nuri the FNG. Randy, I do the Twitter's Walker, is in studio. Find us online, itinthed.com. Give us a like on all the socials and follow us everywhere fine podcasts are sold.
Yeah, and don't forget to check out the Meet tab. That's still MEET, not MEAT. We're not quite there yet on our site. We've got podcaster meetups coming up. We got our meetup. Our meetup is like already this, like coming up.
Yeah,
it's
this week.
It's this Thursday. How did that happen?
We got Fat Tuesday, then Valentine's Day, and then our meetup.
When are we going to be allowed to stop drinking?
Never.
God.
Never. Hey, we're in for a phenomenal episode. We're gonna find out on the very first annual Astronomicon what happened. We're gonna find out what the hell that clips Dave played with a 2-man luge. How did that ever become a thing? And we got some great conversations with some great guests.
Yeah, so we're gonna kind of forego our usual nonsense babbling and just dive right in. We were at a con all weekend. We've been drinking heavily since Thursday night. Wednesday night. We are exhausted. We are down at least an order of magnitude of brain cells. Our livers are going, come on. I think at this point, it's a good thing. I've always said, I have the liver of a 19-year-old. I keep it in a jar in the closet just for weeks like this.
I need it. But I mean, so let's run down Astronomicon real quick. If you didn't know what it was in Sterling Heights. It was ran by the band Twisted.
Yep.
Which is kind of like they birthed out of a Psychopathic Records,
yep.
ICP, which is not really. You're like, okay, I'm not going to this. Well, here's the thing: these guys like wrestling and they like horror movies.
We like wrestling
and they like
we like horror movies.
They like comic books.
We like
and
comic
they like
books.
pop culture.
We like pop culture.
Yeah, exactly. So they're good friends of ours.
Where we diverge apparently is, I like hockey jerseys.
Right.
They a lot of them were wearing hockey jerseys.
Right.
We apparently do not smoke enough weed to hang with them on the regular. Like that's wow. Wow.
You don't have to smoke weed. There was enough weed smoke in the building that the con was held in.
There's a catch buzz galore, yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And
it was like being back at the 4th floor of the Russell.
But I'm not going to lie, for a first-year con, I'm just going to tip my hat.
Dude, Mike and the guys did a phenomenal job.
Everyone that was involved in that, they knocked it out of the park. And the only thing, like the first day we were running into the restaurant to get beers and food.
Right.
And they put up a station the next day. Like they were listening.
Yeah, go figure. The next morning, 10 a.m., there's a bar
5 feet from
us. 5
us.
feet from our booth.
But I mean, if you go down the guest lineup, like, okay, I'm a wrestling fan. You had Scott Hall, Kevin Nash.
The guys from our intro.
Right. NWO, Booker T, all Hall of Famers, Bruce Pritchard, Eric Bischoff.
Yep.
I mean, just absolute Animal from Road Warriors. Then you had, Ming's there with Brian Johnson.
Yeah, Jason Mewes.
Jason
you got
Mewes.
O'Halloran. Yeah.
Right. Brian O'Halloran from Clerks. Then you had all the horror movie guys. I sat and had beers and I didn't know that was Michael Myers.
Yeah.
Kane Hodder from Friday the 13th.
Yep.
I mean, just, Bill Moseley from, Night of a Thousand Corpses, or I'm sorry, House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yeah.
Just awesome. Like
Dude,
everything
was legit.
Right.
And the nice part, and a good mix and spread of vendors. I mean, like there were a lot of people. I mean, there were things there that I've never, because I mean, we go to a lot of cons every year. We're going to be at Great Lakes Comic Con in 2 weeks. We'll be at Fantasticon Toledo 2 weeks after that, and that's just the start of the insanity and madness. But so you had some of the usual art prints, Marvel characters, all that kind of stuff. There was one booth there that was all dead stuff. Like bones in cases, like frames. And then I learned a new phrase, wet mount. Which is not what I thought it was.
From the two-man luge?
I thought, no, apparently that's when it's when it's in like whatever, like some sort of embalming fluid.
Yeah.
And it's a wet, like, dude, they had like squids. And they had like stuff that was
then you had like the teddy bear booth where their faces get removed.
See, I've seen those before. The scare bears.
Right,
yeah, I've seen those before. But yeah, a lot of cool, like great shirts. Ran into somebody doing MAME emulator arcade game systems that we're probably going to pick up. I don't know, 2, 3, 5 from. And it's just a lot of, and of course, the usual artists and that kind of stuff. It was just great. It was a great time.
And the line for Ming was around the building the entire weekend.
I mean, what can I say? Michigan born and raised.
You got more gifts than anyone I've ever. You had like your entire table was full of like Faygo and Better Made and all the stuff you can't get in Jersey.
Yeah, I mean the Faygo you can see with the ICP connection, but I can't get Moon Mist and Rock and Rye in New Jersey. You guys have it lucky here. I love that stuff.
You take it for advantage.
No, not at all. But
we do.
Oh, you do. Yeah. To be fair, though, I did beg for that stuff, and people delivered. Though a lot of times you beg for things,
right?
They don't deliver. They delivered this time.
And you podcasted this weekend more than any human being that I've ever seen. Like you're completely immersed in. You thought that one guy that did 14 hours worth of
right.
Ming was just
Well, like, and I understand that because I mean, I don't know if he was like just if he was live the entire time, because what I found out was like the vast majority of what he was saying when he was on the mic was like, hey, 20 more minutes till I go live. Hey, 15 more minutes till I go live. Hey, 10 more minutes, we'll be back with so and so.
Get out of here.
Hey, 5 more minutes, then we're back with so and so.
All right, now it makes sense.
Yeah.
So, I mean, all right, I always do this. What's the dumbest question you got asked this weekend?
The dumbest question? I mean, it's always what's Kevin Smith really like. And you know what?
High.
Yeah, that's the answer. He is always high. That's the answer. He wakes up, he smokes, and then he smokes throughout the whole day, and then he writes movies like Tusk. And Yoda.
Tusk, yeah, exactly. That makes so much sense now. After you've seen Tusk, what a...
That is a man who smoked a lot of weed.
See, that's my biggest pet peeve. When Dave and I went to a few panels at Motor City, and everything was like, what was it like to work with Adam Sandler? What was it like to work with Vince Vaughn?
You went to the Rob Schneider panel?
No, dude, they did it to Joey Lauren Adams.
Really?
And they were like, "Oh yeah, what was it like to work with Kevin Smith? What was it like to work with Ben Affleck?" No, like nothing about her career, anything.
No, man, our panels ain't like that, man. You got Brian Johnson in rare form.
Right.
When he's happy in a good mood, you'll get anything under the sun, but none of these boring, what was it like?
Well,
questions.
no, that's the questions for people. Like, you can't ask a better question than what was it like to work with.
That's what the public wants, but we try to steer everyone away from
as
those.
You should.
Yeah.
Well, you guys were talking about. I sat in your panel, and you were talking about. Oh God, what was the movie that Brian Johnson wrote?
It's called Vulgar.
Okay, and it's pretty much like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. that Bill Moseley was in, where like
Electric Boogaloo?
They lived
Yeah.
in the basement. It was like the dad and all the like just became a clown or something. Can you get that on Netflix?
You can. It is on Netflix. I
Okay,
believe.
I gotta look it up.
Well, yeah, it's about a clown that gets raped and gets his revenge. The clown is played by Brian O'Halloran, Dante from Clerks. And it came out in 2001. Lionsgate actually picked it up, and it was in theaters.
Was it really?
Yeah. At per screen that weekend.
Only within like a 20-minute radius of Red Bank, or
No. It played at the Toronto Film Festival, and then it premiered in LA and New York at like some prestigious art theaters. And like that, the per screen average that weekend was really good. They like beat out whatever was like per screen, not overall per screen. They were like they were up like number 1 or 2 that weekend.
Well, that's the one thing I wanted to ask. I wanted to interview Brian, but he ducked out before we could. It was like when you're known for a catchphrase.
Sure.
Is that like guys like me that come up to him and say, just say the phrase, man?
Coochie.
No, I just want him to say, I'm not even supposed to be here today.
Did you just whip out a Charo catchphrase?
He absolutely did.
There's no one listening to this. They're all dead, dude. Anyone who got that is dead.
Hey, man, I watched The Love Boat.
So did I, but we're old.
Randy has a fruit salad hat, apparently.
Yeah, were you saying O'Halloran wouldn't say the catchphrase?
That's Carmen Miranda.
No, he didn't want to. Like, he asked me, what do you want me to say? And I said, hey, just say this is Brian O'Halloran from Clerks and Dante, and you're listening to IT. I'm not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
But
Wouldn't
like,
do it.
he would
Or
do
hey,
it.
I'm sitting here talking to number 36 and 37.
Right.
Right.
Come on. That's,
but
that's
like,
weak, man.
No, but
that's
like,
weak.
at
No,
what point,
I'm not going to give it to him. That's really weak.
okay. No, I was saying at one point does that become like hell for people, like being known for that catchphrase?
If it's hell, stay home. Don't come to
Fair.
Astronomicon. And the only reason him and Muse were at the con was because John Heder bailed.
Right.
John Heder from Napoleon Dynamite.
Right.
Which was really weird. He didn't give anybody a reason. And when you don't give a reason for why you're not coming, it's pretty much because you didn't feel like coming.
I heard he was overheard saying, because it's cold. Gosh.
Yeah, idiot.
Idiot. There's snow on the ground.
No time.
So the promoters are scrambling. You need it's a big hole to fill.
Well, I was watching,
so to speak.
I was watching, John Heder did an interview with Conan on late night, and he was like, He goes, Conan kind of asked the same question I just asked you. And he goes, they asked me to say the lines and then they just say it before I could even say it. So I don't even say anything. Cause it's like, Napoleon, do a line. Dude, give me your touch. Like,
yeah.
It's gotta, it's gotta be like all day. By the end, it's gotta get
either that or
exhausting.
it's gotta be the, oh God, what was his name? Chris Farley. Hey, remember?
Yeah.
Remember that time?
Yeah. That was awesome.
That was awesome.
Yeah, so, come on. If that puts food on your table, you say the line, man.
No, I know.
And
it reminds me of the Bart Simpson. Like, just say the line. I didn't do it. And the crowd goes nuts. He's like, and then he doesn't want to because he gets all arrogant.
Yeah.
And Kurt's like, just say the line, kid. I didn't do it. And
yeah, I'm saying O'Halloran shouldn't have big timed you, but John Heder dropped out.
Yeah.
The promoters were scrambling to fill in the hole.
Muse was. I give him a lot of credit. I know he showed up late because his flight. But man, he took care of business.
He did. He's a trained killer, man.
Man, he was on point.
He was great with every single person that walked through. I mean, I when we were taking laps and that kind of stuff, man, for like whatever 90 seconds you were sitting there talking with him, you were his best friend on the planet.
For sure.
It was, yeah.
But he was like, he was the one that was taking your phone and doing selfies, not like the other way around.
Yep.
I'm like, all day. Like, big winner in my book. No, it's like, it's awesome to see people like that. Are actually.
The best part was like if you actually tried to take a picture of somebody with him, he'd be like, "No, I got this. Give me the phone. No.
He's a selfie. He's Kim Kardashian all of a sudden. But the promoter's like, do you know anyone who's not doing anything this weekend that would be a good guest? I was like, I know 2 guys.
Right.
Who are absolutely not doing anything this weekend. They will come, and O'Halloran and Muse were those 2 people.
So our favorite conversation this weekend had to be involved with the 2-man luge, a sport in the Olympics that none of us knew existed until. How did it come to be? What's the origin story?
So the 2-man luge,
or
how we started
talking about it.
It was me. I brought it up because we were sitting there watching luge. And somebody made some comment about like, oh my God, those tight uniforms, whatever, no homo, whatever. And I was like, oh, you think? Hold on. And I pulled up the Google image search of the 2-man luge result teams, and you were. I thought you were going to choke out. Like I thought you were.
Like if you never, I didn't know this existed. I don't know when it started.
Let me stress, not 2-man bobsled.
No.
2-man luge.
Right, so Google it in your spare time, not at work.
It's not safe for work. Definitely not safe. NSFW, everybody.
And like their legs are like, it looks like I was joking, like it's like spooning luge or like splooge,
which
they should call it. But like their
two
legs are all curled up,
and they're not tiny guys.
No, they look really nice and cozy. It's
because their arms and legs are all. It's almost like human centipede luge. They're all wrapped around each other and hurtling down the ice track.
And hey, Michelle Gilbert, I tried to look it up on the Comcast app and I couldn't find it on my TV. So first thing I did when I get home last night, look up two-man.
Of course, it was
nothing. But no, that could not have made us laugh any harder this weekend.
And it just did over the course of the entire weekend. And it just kept coming up, and it kept. But yeah, I just want somebody to walk me through the flow chart of how that became an Olympic event. I'm sure there's alcohol in one of the boxes somewhere in that flow chart,
right?
Copious amounts of alcohol, but I need to know how it happened. I do.
So, I mean, I'd be remiss if we didn't fanboy out a little bit with you.
Why? At this point, we've known each other for like 3 years, bro.
No, because the trailer's coming out.
Well, so let's be real. So we take Ming out, because the big timers that we are, we go to Telway, because Ming had never been to Telway, and the funniest thing happens. So we're standing there, we're eating our little sliders, and the lady who's cooking, who's the fry cook, she steps like way back behind the counter, so like nobody else can see her, and she's mouthing at me, going, "Is that the guy from Comic Book Man?" And like, and I couldn't read it, and I was like, because I only got, I'm like, "What?" She's like, "Is that the guy from Comic Book Man?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's Ming." And she was like,
the fry chick at the Telway is flipping out.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good sign, though, right?
And then Ming's like, "I ain't cited nothing," and he ran out the door. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. No, she's like, we signed something. She grabs like a greasy paper bag from
the burger bag.
Yeah, the takeout bag, yeah.
And I felt bad. I was like, I wish I had an 8x10 or something for you. I should go back and drop one off. I don't know if I have one on me, but
that's why I said I could take a picture, like that way, at least it's because isn't a selfie the new autograph anyway?
It is, yeah. In this
like
day
when
and
I saw
age.
Big Show at Hooters, I'm like, I don't just gotta take a selfie with you, man. He's like, "Get over here."
Yeah, but come on, I was only happy to do it. But I would not have expected that. An older woman, not super old, but at the Telway, very random spot.
Yeah.
Apparently, I guess she works late maybe, and she goes home and flips on
that place is
Comic Book Man.
20, yeah.
Oh yeah, and she was like, "Oh yeah, she's like, every Sunday I watch you," and
Yeah, I was surprised. So I mean, that's a good sign. All I want to do is keep this going so I can keep getting free trips to Michigan.
Yeah, exactly.
So I can come podcast here.
And get idiots like me paying for your bar. No, I'm just kidding. You bought Telway today.
I did. It was best $10.43. Fed three men with large appetites.
I pay for his tiki drinks at the Oakland. He buys my Telway.
I offered.
I know you did. No, but so like, let's dive right into the, so we're in comic book kind of nirvana movie wise.
God, yeah.
For the rest of our lives, like this whole South Park thing is all coming true, like all the backstories, and now there's even fake stuff. What do we see? Star Wars Old Republic Netflix series.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think that's fake. But like, we saw Solo, we saw Venom, and it's just like I'm drooling. The kid in me is just like, and I know what's going to happen. These movies are going to drop, and all the Uber fanboys, I hate it, and then.
It's not true to the comic, man.
Right, but like what we're talking about, like what can you do? Like Solo looks legit. Like I guess Harrison Ford and Lucas signed off on it.
Always a good sign.
It seems like, and then Ron Howard. It seems like what could they do to possibly mess that movie up?
I mean, you saw movies like X3 and X-Men Apocalypse. The Green Lantern.
Right.
Some say the Justice League, Batman versus Superman.
Yeah, or
there's a lot they can do to screw things up.
Terminator 3, the movie that everybody likes to pretend never happened.
They're not going to say Martha in Solo, but I mean, like what
Blade 3.
No, like a 180-pound like svelte Jabba the Hutt comes out and goes Solo, like
Wookiee.
Right, and then he gets out, then he listens to ICP and gets fat. Like I don't know.
They show the backstory of how Han and Greedo used to be like brothers and friends, and they were really tight.
Oh, then the montage,
or they were always shooting each other with rubber bands, and who shot the
high-fiving each other, playing beach volleyball,
I love that you said Harrison Ford signed off on it. Like, you'd think he cares at this point. No way.
I'd like to think so.
He doesn't care. He's been trying to get out of the Star Wars franchise for 20 years.
He didn't want to do Jedi.
No.
That's why he was frozen in carbonite at the end of Empire, because they couldn't get him to sign to do Jedi.
Couldn't they freeze Leia instead of having her float back with Mary Poppins?
Oh, yeah. But no, I mean, that's why like he had the only way I'm doing 7 is if you kill me off.
And they did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So long story short, there's a lot they can do to screw.
But you
things
look
up.
at we talk about it all the time. We're gonna have a Star Wars movie like every mid-year Christmas for
Thank
the rest
God.
of our lives.
Yeah, which is great.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, when Return of the Jedi came out and then it ended, Lucas was like, "I'm done. I'm not making any more." I'm like, "What about 7, 8, 9 and 1, 2, 3?" He's like, "No, I'm done. I'm satisfied." And I thought there was going to be no more Star Wars ever. So to see all these come back and now they're going to get one every year, I'm in heaven, man.
Well, what's your take on like all these different writers? Because like it used to be cohesive, and now you have like the Game of Thrones authors are going to write the next trilogy.
Yeah,
and then you have Ryan Johnson coming back for another trilogy. It's like, man, this thing's getting planned out till we're going to be in our 60s.
I think it's great. Yeah. If you don't get other visions in there, then you're just going to get the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
And that's what people like to complain about. So
right.
And Ryan Johnson, whether you like Last Jedi or not, it was. I thought I liked it. I thought it was
liked
good.
it.
I
I
think
go into those things watching it like I talked this a few times. I go into those movies watching it like a 12-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going in there going, yeah, there's going to be plot holes, there's going to be weirdo. Unless you go Martha in the middle of it, I'm going to be pretty okay with the whole movie.
Sure, but with Star Wars, it's literally dudes in robes swinging on laser swords. You can't be like, that's not supposed to happen. No, it's all made up, idiots.
Well,
there is no Tatooine.
The point is, you have like people like Dave that read every book,
sure,
looked at every
which
fan
is no
theory.
longer canon, by the way. So
right.
you wasted your time.
No, but here's the best part of that. Now they're releasing new books that they want me to buy.
Right.
You can go yourself.
Yes.
I ain't buying the new book. Why? Because you know how many hundreds of dollars of books I have in my basement that you just said don't matter anymore, and now you want me to go buy more so you can screw me again?
It's kind of like GM stock, eh? But
yeah.
And you know who loses out? Timothy Zahn. He's at home crying because his books don't matter anymore.
Dude, and that's honestly, that is one of the biggest travesties in the Star Wars universe that there can be, because without Zahn's books, there is no Star Wars.
No one
now.
would have cared during that dark time. Where
In the dark times, before the Zahn trilogy. Before Heir to the Empire came out in 1991.
Yeah.
Dude, Star Wars was dead.
Yeah,
there
absolutely.
was nothing.
Right, and that was it.
And then that sparked the interest, and then you've got the special editions that came out, 96, 97.
Yeah. Mark was telling me he has the original VHSs, like unedited.
So do I.
Yeah. He went to go watch them in his basement on his VHS. He played his VHS player, and he goes, "Oh God, that looked horrible." Well, you're watching it on an HD TV.
There's that, yeah.
He goes, I don't know how he watches crap when we're kids. I go, Mark, it's an HD TV. It's a flat screen now. It's different.
Yeah.
It's not going to look good.
Right.
He's like,
you're watching a 40-year-old VHS tape on an HD TV.
Right. There was guys at the Astronomicon that were selling VHS tapes of like old school Hogan wrestling.
Yeah.
I'm like, who's got a VHS? You know.
Well, it's like, what
year is this?
What was it? Comic-Con 2 years ago. I lose my mind because someone's got an Atari 2600 in the box, like the original one. Yeah. And I'm like, shut up and take my money. And I got my wallet out, and he hits me, and he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm buying the Atari 2600. He's like, yeah. How are you going to hook it up to your TV, Einstein? I'm like, oh,
yeah, the
claws.
The little two prongs.
It had the claws.
They don't put, that's
is there a claw to HDMI converter? Damn it, Bob.
No.
Are you sure there isn't? You didn't look at Amazon Prime?
No,
I bet you
I accepted defeat and moved on.
There's got to be.
Game TV clicker.
Yeah, that was, the claw to HDMI. Yeah, that's what you need, the claw to HDMI converter. With the one cable coming out. Yeah.
You need a Phillips head screwdriver to hook up your Atari to your TV back then.
And you have channel 2, channel 3, channel 2, channel 3, channel 2.
Yeah. Right in the middle.
Uh-huh.
So what are you most looking forward to about what's coming out?
Solo, definitely. I like the trailer. Han Solo driving.
It looks perfect.
Yeah, if he just flies stuff for 2 hours, I'm fine. With Chewbacca, I'm fine. And then there's a young Lando. That's just icing on the cake.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, all these other characters.
There's going to be a few, like we saw Maz
Kanata.
We did, yes.
And then
and Chewie.
Who are the other in-betweeners that are going to be in that?
Right. I want to know.
Are we going to see Jabba Greedo? Are we going to see Boba Fett? Are we going to see? I think you have to see Boba Fett.
I think so. Yeah,
it's a given.
Yeah, even just to set up the rivalry.
I'm a little curious about Woody Harrelson. Like that's one of those ones where like,
is that taking you out of it?
It's Woody Harrelson. Like it's like he's one of those guys that it's like I don't care what you do.
Did you see him in the last Planet of the Apes, the one that just came out?
Mm-hmm.
He tried to be Brando in Apocalypse Now so hard, where that movie was almost unwatchable.
And you're Woody Harrelson.
Right.
Like, I'm sorry. Like you're Zombieland.
No, you're white
stoner
man can't
dude.
jump.
Cheers. Well, or Cheers.
Right.
Like that's
Cheers.
Yeah,
You're right.
No Natural Born Killers love?
Nah,
come
that's
on.
a good flick, but that wasn't him.
I
It
know.
wasn't the thing. It wasn't a defining role for him.
Like, if you ask anyone now who was in Natural Born Killers, I think you'll get a pause.
Right.
I think they forget that was Woody Harrelson.
Right.
Where White Men Can't Jump, man. Everyone, that's classic.
Man can't jump. What a pull.
You don't hear Jimi Hendrix.
Quahog.
Yeah. That couldn't have been that was probably the single most annoying scene in the history of movies with Rosie Perez doing Jeopardy. Where's the quint?
Quiche.
Horrible.
Yeah, and then if there's another movie that I'm going to go and line up for, like right now, is probably Infinity War.
Okay, are you?
Yeah. Oh,
Can
absolutely.
See, to me, it's too much.
See, we talked about it, yeah.
Like, it's too much. Like, that's a lot of, like, that's the most amount of collection of people.
It is. I think Marvel's the master at these things, though. They've done it in the comics, and they'll do it in the movies. I have no doubt. It's not going to be another X3. It's not going to be another Spider-Man 3.
Ultron was hard to follow at times because it's like so much. There's the 3,000 of those creatures that come out. Everyone does this. Batman. They do that circle fight, and then like just punches, and you
where they all only attack him one at a time.
Right.
But like that's why I was like, can we just not can the world not be ending all the time? Like that's it. This is why 24 lost me, dude. Season 1, episode 1 of 24. I was in. I was hooked. I was like a monkey on crack watching that show.
Okay.
They announced season 2, and I'm like, yes, I'm back. Jack Bauer, do it. They announced season 3, and I'm like, how many end of the world days am I supposed to believe one random asshole has? And that's what this is turning into. Like, what happened to the Joker's going to pull off a bank heist, and we got to stop him? No. The world's got to end. Or
For 24 lost me because the next 8 weeks he's going to be sleeping. Stay tuned next week while he hits snooze for the first 15 minutes, then takes a shower, and then stuck in rush hour traffic. It's going to be a riveting episode. And he sneaks in a poop during the commercial breaks. Like, what kind of show is this?
Yeah, no, Infinity War, it's like all of existence is threatened.
That's what I said. Like, how?
It's not just the world; it's everything now.
So where do you go for like this? This isn't going to be the last movie.
No.
What do you do after that?
There's plenty more storylines.
Like you're
going
to end the universe.
Plenty more storylines to come. There's years of material.
How
to
is
pull from.
Thanos not Hellboy's voice? Or Ron Perlman? How is he looks when he glances
looks just
over?
Like him.
It looks like Perlman.
Sure.
And I'm like, how is it not had voice?
Yeah, I agree. That would be pretty awesome.
Yeah,
they should just hire Ron Perlman. Although, Perlman looks good. He's so good. He got a part in freaking. He gets to play Cable too in Deadpool. So he must be doing something right.
That looks good.
Get Deadpool 2.
Yeah,
it's so good. They moved it up like 2 weeks, the release date. So they must have seen something that was.
We talked about this at the bar. I was torn on Deadpool, but it's not that I didn't like it. It was just one of those. It was a little bit too much. Yeah, I was torn.
You are Deadpool, bro. You're the snarky guy, like just winging like inappropriate comments all over the place. But that's why I love you, dude.
But that's why why is Deadpool okay being yuck? But Star Wars, you make 2 jokes and everybody's like, it can't be funny in Star Wars.
Apples and oranges, man.
I know it is.
Come on,
That was Deadpool's character. I know.
You've gone to cons. You see how seriously people take Star Wars. I mean, it's a religion. Like, they live or die by that.
I was kind of offended there was only one Deadpool and one Harley Quinn.
No, there were at least 2 or 3 Quinns walking around, yeah.
I only saw one Ray, too. Usually
and there was a Luke walking around.
No Wolverines.
No Wolverines for once.
Yeah.
No Slave Leias.
No.
Maybe it's a little cold for that. But show some heart, man. Show some heart.
Dave and I want to do the, we want to get it. Oh, that would have been the perfect, to release that.
To have the inflatable.
You know, the inflatable dinosaurs people? They have inflatable tauntauns. You can ride like Yoshi.
Yes.
And we want to get like the blue winter jackets with the fur and do
your tauntaun will freeze before the outer marker. Then I'll see you in hell.
See you in hell. Yeah, exactly. And we can cut it open and then let.
And we can be like, that annoying Michael Myers guy walking around with his music,
right.
And just the whole day we'll just go, hey, I thought they smelled bad on the outside. Hey, I thought they smelled bad on the outside. Hey, yeah.
Or everyone would be saying that to us.
Yeah.
Dude, where are those Amazon Prime? I'm getting one tomorrow. Then
they're only like $50.
Yeah,
it looks so ridiculous. Like I want to get into a cosplay contest and just like wear these things.
I keep wanting Bob to be Baymax. That's all I want.
You got to step it up a notch though, like Detroit Dinosaur does, and like put a costume over top the inflatable dinosaur costume.
What is that?
No, that's too much. No,
it's too much work, man.
Yeah.
Have you not met us?
Yeah, that's called effort.
If
These
it's
guys
not,
don't put effort
if it's
into
not
anything.
acceptable, why is it called the minimum?
No, I don't want to be. I don't want to be in one of those "How do you poop" costumes because
Nope.
it's just god awful. Like the Mecha Godzilla guy. Like what happened? Like you can't drink anything, you can't eat anything, you can't go to the bathroom. Like what do you do in that suit all day?
Eat, drink, and go to the bathroom.
As
exactly.
little, I'm sure. Yeah, he probably has like an entire astronaut system hooked up
It's
in
so
there.
gross. I don't want to think about that.
the right stuff.
So he's got truckers buddies down both legs.
God, throw up.
You just sparked something though. That costume, I can buy it, and now I can bill it to this company we just started, and the company I started thanks to you guys, which is a podcast studio located in the heart of Red Bank, New Jersey.
Wait, what is it?
A podcast studio.
I thought it was a podca studio.
No, podcast studio.
Podcast Udio.
Oh, yeah.
I know you hate us for that.
I know. They're busting my balls because I combined the word podcast and studio and turned it into one word in our logo and our business. And they're like, is it podcast Udio? Like, no, it's podcast studio. It's one word, you idiots. And thanks.
So
Now,
you guys finally found a space. You guys are kind of off and rocking.
we did, but all inspired by you guys. I saw that you guys like truly made it work. And, Zapsik wanted to do it. I was somewhat hesitant at first, but I was like, you know what? Let's just go for it. It's been going swimmingly. We don't have
If those two idiots in Detroit can do it, we got this.
basically, yeah. basically that was our philosophy.
So you couldn't rent out the stash when you weren't using it?
No, and that's what sparked it too. We were lucky we had a space where we could podcast, which was in the back of the comic book store.
Yeah.
If you watch Comic Book Man, that's where we usually we BS back there between transactions and stuff. And it was a great space, but we wanted something of our own. And I would have we should have rented the back of the store. You bring any of this up to Walt Flanagan, he's like, no, you can't. And everything I've done has been inspired by something he told us that we can't do.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, one was like, no, you can't podcast here. It's like, all right, screw it. We'll go get our own space where we can podcast. The other was like, no, you can't drink coffee back here and read comics at the same time. It's like, all right, I'll go find a bunch of guys to partner with to open up a coffee, comics, and gaming cafe.
It's kind of like, hey, Mom, I got my own apartment. I'm running with scissors.
Yep.
And I put the milk. I drank out of the milk container, and
So I just drank orange juice right out of the thing.
I ate a Snickers bar for dinner, and I'm 3 inches away from the TV. Yeah.
Well, I saw Brian Johnson was goading Walt because he was in front of the Tilted Kilt.
Yes.
Which apparently Walt was not a fan of.
Well, it wasn't that he wasn't a fan of. He took his family over there, seeing that a new eatery called the Tilted Kilt had opened up.
Right.
Did zero research except for the menu.
As we all know, it's Scooters.
Yeah, it's a restaurant.
It's Scottish Hooters.
It's a restaurant, yeah. And he didn't know this. And he walked in there, and when the scantily clad lady came out from behind the podium, his jaw dropped. And he chose to stay and eat out the whole meal. But I'm like, dude, Walt's very conservative, like overly so. And why he stayed is beyond me. He was so uncomfortable throughout the whole meal.
See, so now I'm good with him not making the trip out here.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, he wouldn't have hung out. He wouldn't have gone to the Van Halen concert with me. He wouldn't have gone to the Oakland with us. So,
right.
Yeah. So he's not a fan of the Tilted Kilt.
So how you guys have been doing Ming and Mike now for how long?
We started right around the time we met you guys.
Yeah.
So late 2015, and we started that podcast because we just wanted to talk about whatever we wanted. We were talking about cons and stuff on our other podcast, I Sell Comics, and people were like, when are you going to start talking about comics again? And not about shenanigans that you did it. You had some con in Mount Clemens, Michigan. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess we should get back to that. So we started another
Details.
one. Yeah, so we started knowing, it was like, let's talk about whatever the hell we want on here. Let's take that freedom and do it. And that's the beauty of podcasting.
Oh, it is. Talk about whatever the heck talk about 1-star Yelp reviewers for crying out loud. Like, anything works.
Yeah, and that show has spread to New Jersey, dude, the worst meatball sandwich ever.
What?
Yeah, the clients that you graciously referred to us in New Jersey, they found out about you through that podcast. They were like, we were listening to that pod, and we thought it was really funny.
Oh my God, we destroyed the vegan scene in Detroit.
We absolutely did.
I mean, there's room for improvement.
Oh, there is, yeah.
Yeah, but they mentioned that podcast specifically.
Oh,
that's
my
hilarious.
God. It is. That's the weirdest thing that we've
Dude, it's
ever
like
done.
everything we do. We're stunned when anybody acknowledges that we exist.
Yeah, and you guys probably started that. You're probably drunk somewhere, and it was like, let's read 1-star Yelp reviews. It's great.
Yeah. That's actually exactly how that happened.
Because what's not going to happen when we go to Red Bank. We are definitely not going to get recognized at the slider joint when we go eat.
Right. Yeah, we don't have to worry about that.
No, exactly.
Faces for radio.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
I'll take you to the footlong hot dog joint where they charbroil them. And, yeah, you'll love it. You'll love it. They're open until 4 in the
12
morning.
inches?
You had me on
And
hot
then
dog.
some.
Yeah, exactly.
And then some, yeah. You put your own sauerkraut on from this big vat that's in the middle. It's great.
You had me at 12 inches.
Yeah.
Shut up, Brady.
Yeah. You'll love it. Yeah, it's little known that Jersey is very well known for its hot dogs. We'll go to all of them, dude.
Awesome. All right.
And then not take a blood pressure test for about 8 weeks.
All the salt and won't pee for a week.
Nitrates. Yeah, nitrates keeps you young, my friend.
Good for you.
Very
Absolutely.
good.
So you're going to be back almost in Detroit. You're going to be in Toledo, what, in a couple of weeks?
Yeah, March 10th and 11th or 9th and 10th.
Second weekend of March.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, if you want to meet Ming, we're going to be at Fantasticon in Toledo.
March. Or you want to come hang out with us?
Nobody wants to hang out with
We're
us.
going to be drinking.
Right.
That's what we do.
Karaoke contest.
We got belts.
Me versus Dirk Manning in the showdown to end all showdowns.
Can you explain this to me again? So karaoke, there's an after hours party karaoke.
The artist community at these Comic-Cons take their karaoke very seriously. They basically turned it into a professional wrestling show, complete with a referee, intro, like a ring announcer, and crowd participation only. So basically, and then there's teams, like kind of like the Fabulous Freebirds, right? You can add, so they have rules, like you can be a 2 or 3 tag team or 6-man tag.
Okay.
And there's like an elimination tournament for who gets the belt.
Right. And what's the judging criteria?
Crowd participate, you get the crowd in.
Oh, okay, and they vote.
Yeah.
Okay. So you may not wow them.
And then Dirk pays the ref.
Dirk pays, yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's much like real wrestling.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, but
I did a beautiful rendition of Du Hast by Rammstein.
One of your favorite songs.
Yeah, in all German. And the crowd went bananas. They were chanting Bob, Bob, Bob. And then I'm like, I won this damn thing. And I'm like, we're doing, promos back and forth with Dirk, and then, he pays the ref off.
Yeah.
But it could not be more entertaining and fun as karaoke's kind of goofy as it is.
But knowing that, can't we pay him off more then?
Yeah, that's why we bought belts. Dirk had a crappy Toys R Us one. We bought a legit Podcast Detroit belt.
And that's the best part of it is they're Podcast Detroit belts, of which he's not a part of.
Right.
So he can't win those.
No,
belts.
he can't. Oh, but I can. All right, I may go for the gold, my friend.
Just like in professional wrestling, you got to give the belt back to the promoter before you go home.
Right.
Oh, man. All right. No, I wanted to take it back to Jersey, man. Like show what Jersey how we do it. That would have been awesome.
We had photos.
Yeah, absolutely.
We make it work.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll Photoshop you in. I don't know.
All right. Well, I can't wait. Then I'm in. Count me in.
So, hey, how do we find you online? If they want to follow you on Instagram, listen to your podcast.
If you can't find me online, you must be blind. But Ming Chen 37, that's MINGCHEN 37 on Instagram and Twitter.
Wait, he's 37.
I'm 37.
Does O'Halloran know this?
No.
Oh,
I'm 37. Yes.
Was that on purpose?
Oh yeah,
Clerks?
of course. Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, because some idiot.
I go, there's not 36 other Ming Chens. Or maybe
No,
there are.
I looked. If you look at just Ming Chen, some immigrant stole it.
Oh.
And, yeah. It's like, come on, man. Like, come on.
Taking all the good Twitter handles.
I know I was born in Cleveland, but like rightfully so. I don't deserve anything. So I just take 37, no argument. And then on Facebook, you can search Ming Chen Comic Book Men.
Awesome. You're going to be hanging out with us, but we're going to take a quick break.
Absolutely.
Honestly, time
Thank
of
you
our
guys.
lives from, we got to take
It's always fun.
We got to detox after every time we see you,
Oh,
but
God.
it's worth every minute. You're one of the nicest people I ever met in my life, and we're glad you could be in here.
I love you both too. Thank you.
Absolutely. So, Ming Chen, find him online. If you can't, you know what he said. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to be back. Doug Copley, Duo Security. This is the IT and the D Show.
Hey, and we'll be right back.
IT in the D. Read. Meet. Listen. Networking Detroit. One beer at a time.
Hey, this is John Schneider from Nip Tuck Smallville, the haves and the have-nots. Oh, Dr. Quinn, Hot in Cleveland, Secret Lives of the American Teenager, and just about everything you can possibly imagine. And oh yeah, the Dukes of Hazzard. You're listening to Bob and Dave. It's the IT in the D show.
ITinthed.com.
Welcome back. Episode 234, segment 2. This is the IT in the D show, and we are broadcasting live here in Studio One in Podcast Detroit in beautiful Royal Oak, Michigan. Bob, the sales guy, hanging out with Dave, the geek. Ming Chen is still in studio, as is Randy. I do the Twitter's Walker. Find us online, itandthed.com, because we are IT and the D. And
you still are.
We love hearing the stories about you, and we love you.
Have another aneurysm.
Muy.
Hey, before we get rolling, though, we've all come to expect that distributed databases can't be both globally consistent and scalable. But what if you didn't have to make trade-offs? What if you could have a fully managed database service that's consistent, scales horizontally across data centers, and speaks SQL? Introducing Cloud Spanner, a mission-critical relational database service from Google Cloud Platform, built from the ground up and battle-tested at Google for strong consistency and high availability at a global scale. Click to learn more about Cloud Spanner. Visit g.co/getspanner. That's g.co/getspanner.
Can we be pd.co? Does that exist?
I'm sure somewhere, whatever. I can look.
Let's get that. Let's make that happen. itd.co.
Pod.co. I don't know.
But hey, we are very lucky to be joined. This is actually an IT show. We forgot about that.
We do every now and then.
Yeah. No, but we're IT guys. We talk about sci-fi, and we talk about comics, and we talk about work.
And every now and then we talk about tech.
Right. But we're lucky to be joined by Doug Copley. He is the advisory CISO for Duo Security and evangelist.
Evangelist.
I always wanted
hate
the title.
that word,
means,
but
you
know it really.
Do you know about security? Can you feel
the love? I'm here to spread the word.
We hung out with an evangelist from Microsoft. They go, God, what a great job! You just have you heard the good word from Microsoft? I'm like, wow, this is how can I?
Would you like to buy a database for the Church of Religious Consciousness?
So, I mean, if you haven't heard about Duo Security, I don't think you're in the space. You guys kind of you rock some boats. You're getting national notoriety now. This little teeny startup from Ann Arbor has just got its first $1 billion valuation, and Silicon Valley scratching their heads. And you guys are just
people are still asking, where's Ann Arbor?
Right. And don't you just play football there? But I mean, walk me through like this kind of you guys really just took the whole kind of world by storm in this little space, and you carved out your own niche and absolutely just killing it.
Well, we did, and I think it really goes down to Doug, who I know you guys know, and John just sitting back one day and saying, "Hey, listen, we want to make this super easy for everybody." Right? We don't want security to be a bottleneck anymore. We just want it so easy that everybody will do it. It won't get in their way. And so from the very get-go, it was all about user design. And I think I've heard people say we have as many designers as we have coders. So it's all about
UX is just as important. People forget about that.
Absolutely. And I think that's why we've taken at least the MFA market by storm, right? The multi-factor authentication, just because we made it so easy.
You got rid of the tokens on my keychain.
Well, yeah. So
Yes, we did.
So think about this. We did the last. So we talked with Duo, episode 12, September 25th of 2013.
Wow.
Was when we had Duo
in studio.
Stanislav.
Okay.
Back
Still
then.
there? Yep. I know Mark well.
So, I mean, for those that aren't familiar with, I guess, what you do, or like I said, I guess walk me through with just the basics of what you guys provide.
So what Duo does is, lots of people out there who have heard of Duo, who have maybe implemented Duo, know us as a two-factor authentication solution. But that is not really what Duo is as a company, right? Duo, if you look back at when we started putting product out, and our vision today, if you hear Doug or Jono talk, it's about enabling organizations and enabling users. And it goes back to what Google started preaching about. Talk about G.co.
Yeah.
What they started preaching back in 2013, which is this whole kind of a zero trust beyond corp model, right, of security, which means, hey, I'm just going to, people are getting breached from inside their own network, right, because people are compromising credentials. And they said, we're just going to treat our internal network like it was the internet, right? We're not going to trust anybody or any device just because it's on our internal network.
It's the Fox Mulder approach to security. Trust no one.
Yeah, exactly. And so, the vision and what we do is we enable your typical organizations to do what Google has done and adopt that kind of a model. And that model is very much into not just establishing trust with the user, right, through two-factor authentication,
right,
but also establishing trust with the device. So every time somebody goes to access an application, it checks the device hygiene, and or if companies want to certify that it's a company device, right, we check the PC, we check the smartphone, do the 2FA, and make sure that all those pass whatever criteria the company wants to be able to access that resource.
See, now, something I've been screaming about, we talked about this off during the break, something I've been screaming about for a little bit better than a year, and no better person to talk about it than you, is, so here's a use case, and I will give you this for free, the low cost of free. No, I'm just kidding. But
we like talk free about ideas.
We talk about bank fraud and credit card fraud and all the cards that we go through and these weird phone calls we get from the bank going, "Are you in line at the grocery store?" And yeah, as they shut your card off. Why can't you do two-factor authentication, or maybe why aren't the banks looking at where I get a push notification, or I can opt in or opt out, obviously, but saying, "Hey, are you in line at Meijer spending $105?"
Well, it's, the example I always use when we talk about this is, so I had the, my SoundCloud Pro account. They're based in Berlin. That hit and renewed. The LinkedIn Premium account based out of Mountain View, California, hit like a minute later. And while I'm pulling into the gas station down the street from my house, and my card gets declined. And then I start getting security alerts. Like, number one, idiot companies, how do you not know that I shop online from different places? And number two, how do you not know that's the gas station down the street from my house? What's wrong with you? So yeah, I mean, I think this idea helps eliminate that nonsense.
Yeah, it does. And I'll be the first to admit the technology is there to fix it.
Sure.
I mean, honestly, I don't think it's gotten painful enough for the card brands. Right?
Can it, for speed-wise, can it happen that fast if I'm at Target and I put my card in, I put my PIN in, and for that push notification to come, that would have to come within a second. Otherwise, it would be a.
Well, yeah, because as I'm going, what the hell, and pulling out another card, and I got the other card swiped. Before I got the text notification from the bank, "Hey, if this is you, reply with Y." Right.
Well, and not only that, the chip credit card is the new writing a check at the grocery store. You got a chip, you asshole. Come on. But I mean, is it there to basically have a push notification app come up in seconds to?
You absolutely can. And one of the interesting things that we do within our own company is we send people false notifications, right? It's kind of like companies send phishing emails to their employees.
Sure.
We phish them with false Duo pushes, right? And so that's the same concept, right? I'm sitting in a meeting.
You just don't want to be on that list, yeah.
I'm sitting in a meeting. I get a push to my device that says, "Hey, you're trying to log in, right, from Southern California." And, they want to make sure that I don't push allow, right?
Right.
Or yes.
Again, you don't want to be on that list. Working for Cisco, that used to do that to us religiously.
And I gotta go to the security training.
Well, and not just that. The funny thing is, we used to give demos on our own internal network. So I do my day job. I do behavioral analytics, and one of the use cases is people leaving the company. Like, I can tell you're going to quit before you quit based on your behavior.
Yeah,
and it's always like the same 2 or 3 are always every time we do a demo. So now we do it in a generic sandbox, because we'd always call them up and say, "Are you quitting, man?" Because it's showing up on the you never want to be on the list.
That's funny.
So you couple other things you're doing. You started a Michigan Healthcare Cybersecurity Council.
I did. So back in 2013, when I was CISO at Beaumont.
Sure.
I got together with Dan Lowerman, right, who was CSO of the state of Michigan at that time.
I think we've heard of him once or twice.
Yeah, he's been on the show a few times.
And we started up a healthcare cybersecurity council. So this was just a consortium of healthcare CISOs around the state of Michigan. And, we all kind of looked at each other and said, how in the heck are we ever going to deal with cyber, right? Because none of us had staff or resources. And so we said, all right, well, let's get us together and figure out how we can partner with the state, how we can partner with other ISOCs and these other organizations just to help us improve the state of preparedness.
Well, and that's one of the big questions I get every day is the healthcare providers that say, what about all these IoT devices that I have that are quote unquote connected, but don't spit out sys logs? And you want me to have them secure? It's one of these things where it's almost like the more tools that are coming out, it's easier for some people, but it makes life hell for others.
Yeah, and there's some fabulous, I love dealing with healthcare. So I left Beaumont at the end of 2015. But I still pay a lot of attention to healthcare because it's just such an interesting environment, so complicated. But there's such cool technology that's going out, right, to help patient care. And so I was, I tweeted about an article today where they were talking about, these devices, right, that people either implant in themselves or have on them at any given time. And they want the doctors to be able to provide, health services via telehealth. And so the article was about, I'm trying to remember if it was the state of Colorado. I don't know. It was one of the states, right? Said, hey, we just passed a law advocating that we want this telehealth because we want doctors to be able to monitor the patient's information that way. And my comment was, how are you going to secure that?
Right.
Right. Who else is going to be monitoring your healthcare data besides your physician?
Right.
Right. And so,
because it's not like doctors are the most tech savvy people on the planet.
No. And I can tell you from firsthand experience, they're not the most pleasant guys to work with.
They still fax, for crying out loud.
But
they asked me to fax something.
But I respect what they do.
Absolutely. Right. I mean, how soon are we getting? So I talked to someone we were talking VR technology, and he's in I believe it was like tool and die, engineering, and they said, yeah, we got some really cool training apps that go on VR.
Oh yeah, talk about that. Yeah,
yeah, and it can help. Like while I'm doing something, there can be someone watching that clicker pointer in my ear, going, "This is the way you do it." It's almost like a train the trainer or virtual training, hands on though. I wonder if is that ever going to be a thing in healthcare? Because I know we're talking about like remote surgeries, and the guy's got the Nintendo joystick and he's digging into a stomach,
Yeah, and they say, the incisions are much smaller. They can be way more precise, right, without having to put a hand or fingers in somebody, right?
Right. Leaving sandwiches and
yeah, exactly. One of the greatest inventions, I think, and this is for patients with Alzheimer's that I've seen, is they actually implant or essentially glue a little microchip onto each pill in a bottle.
Okay.
And the person wears like a nicotine patch type thing on their arm. And so they take the pill, the patch on their arm detects the fact that it's in their bloodstream. And so, an hour later, somebody asks or the person goes to take their pill because they can't remember if they took it or not. And they've got their device or something that says, no, you've already took it. You don't have to take it for another 4 hours.
How cool is that?
Right. So I think it's really cool.
So they just got to remember to check the app.
Really weird
before
about
they take their pill.
Shut up, Dave.
Swallowing microchips, but
Hey, if you have Alzheimer's though, I think there's not a person in this room that won't say swallow the damn chip.
Yeah.
If you're born, they're going to say like no, but that's such an interesting case, or it's just impossible to
Yeah.
What's the line? And you get to meet new people every day. How cool.
Right. Yeah. So 50 first dates.
Right. So what's, so obviously, obviously you can't divulge too much about roadmaps, but we always like to know what's next. So, what's next for Duo?
Well, I talked about user authentication. I talked about, checking the hygiene of devices, at the point that you're wanting to access something. So, just think about us going much deeper into both of them. So kind of what you were talking about and what you did in your day job.
Yeah.
Right. Adding some intelligence behind the algorithms there and, just getting very specific information about the device. And it's no secret. I mean, we work directly with Google and Microsoft and Apple. And we do as much as they will allow us.
Right.
Well, and I think honestly, that's the biggest thing now and people have finally clued in that the reality is you have to have heuristic analysis. You have to have machine learning. You have to have, sort of, these AI, programs running, looking at these things because, dude, I remember being a sysadmin and, hey, something's going wonky on the network. Here's 800 gigs of log files. Figure out what happened how. All right, I'll see you in like a month and a half.
Right. Yeah. Sad thing was I went to RSA last year, and I've been a practitioner for 25 years before I ever went to a security vendor, and I left. That was the first year I went to RSA was last year, and I walked away from there and said, "Man, I feel sorry for anybody who went there looking to buy a product."
Hey, Podfest.
Every vendor was saying the same thing, and I went and talked to a lot of vendors.
Well, and that's the funny thing too. Like me being in the vendor space, I get people like going like, their sales pitch was mine, and I go, wait a minute, you're not on any Gartner report. Like in terms of us, you're not on any of my competitor reports. What do you do? And then we would
what do
right? You peel back the layers. I'm like, oh, you're just malware, But you did the same pitch as me again because it's the bad thing. Big data, machine learning, artificial intelligence. It's buzzword bingo, and I'm so scared to say that just because like guys like you would roll your eyes.
Yeah.
Like, oh, everybody big data, Yeah. And everybody's like, did you ever see it went out on LinkedIn. It was basically a logo spreadsheet. There must have been 250 logos on it. It said like every security vendor that's out there. And it's like, how the hell are you supposed to pick where you're going to go?
We use machine learning. We reduce risk.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So, but it was interesting. And we'll be back there this year. I'll be back there this year. I think for Duo, we have a little bit of a branding challenge in that, like I said earlier, everybody knows us as two-factor authentication, but they kind of stop there. And so nobody knows that, we've gone way beyond that. And two-factor authentication was step one, right? And then it was device intelligence, and then it was adaptive auth and machine learning. And so, we really have jumped on board with that Google Beyond Corp model to let any company of any size adopt that. And so we just got to educate, the community and as many people as we can that, hey, we are a Beyond Corp enabler, right? We're not we're not just the two.
They're Mark Hamill sitting at a Comic-Con booth circa 2009 going, would you let me talk about the Batman cartoon?
No.
Do you not know what I do with the Batman?
No, but I mean, so
the voice of Joker, damn it.
You're getting to the point where you're doing like machine to machine, like authentication, like so the trusted endpoints on networks. Are you going that way?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Yeah. And in a lot of ways, when you look at the platforms that we have, we can, depending on the use cases, we can replace mobile device management solutions because we have the app on the phone.
Sure.
And the app can tell me if it's encrypted and if you've got screen lock enabled and most of the things that an MDM will do.
Cisco made us do a 6-digit unlock. Oh, we hated them so bad. Oh, it was the worst.
That's where we're going. We're looking for a lot of this, like I said, deeper intelligence into the devices and just kind of spreading the word that, hey, we can help a lot. You just gotta, get to know us a little bit.
Sure. Now, are you doing anything out of the box? Like meaning, hey, customers, I'm sure you can. I'm just kind of teeing you up a softball here. Like, customer comes and says, hey, this is what kind of, just like I did with the bank. Like, hey, we got a new use case. Can you help? Right. I'm sure you're not going to say no, but I guess, how far can you go with this?
We've done some pretty innovative things. And as you can imagine, I mean, we eat our own dog food, right? We live everything that we put out. And, just even though we're from Ann Arbor, Michigan, we've got some pretty reputable high-tech companies that are customers of ours and have been for years. So we've gotten pretty interesting. We've hit higher ed huge. So we're in, I think it's every one of the Big Ten schools in this area. We're in 400 campuses around the world. And people don't necessarily think about student fraud per se. But it's a problem because people are getting in, hacking students' credentials and going in and redirecting their tuition payments. Right?
Really?
So think about that. Student enrolls in his classes, makes the payment, shows up first day of classes, and says, "You're not in here." Right? So we've done, and we have done some specific consumer use cases. We haven't kind of did that on a broad scale yet, but we have done a few based on, client needs, and, there's certain big customers that you're always going to adapt to.
Sure. If
right?
you land,
we're even diving into federal government. So we're working on our FedRAMP certification.
Okay.
But it's kind of interesting because Duo has predominantly grown by people coming to us. So we haven't pushed out into the markets, right? They come asking us saying, "Hey, we want you in healthcare, or we want you in financial services." And the same thing with the federal government. Someone from the federal government came and said, "Hey, we want Duo." And to talk to the founders, they said, "We never had any intention of going into government, but when the government comes and asks, you don't say no."
No doubt. Like I said, I just wanted, for the record, if you guys do land the Visa account and do what I said, I'll take a board seat. Just we'll leave it. We negotiated that.
Just 0.1%. That's all
exactly.
I know.
Is that how much? Yeah, 0.0. Yeah, I'm good.
Just
But we can find you guys at duo.com, right?
Absolutely.
And then if you want to get you on LinkedIn, Doug Copley.
Actually, it's
or don't get you on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, Doug Copley. Twitter at Douglas Copley, because they wouldn't give me Doug Copley.
Animals. But hey, we appreciate the time you spent with us.
Glad to be here.
Look forward. I think it's one of the great Michigan success stories in tech, and
absolutely,
kind of proud to stick a feather in that one and kind of stick the middle finger to Silicon Valley and say we could do this too.
And it wasn't just about tech; it's about culture.
Sure.
So this is I've always worked for big enterprise customers, and the culture at Duo is something like I've never experienced before. And it starts at the top with Doug and John. I mean, they have an incredibly helpful culture, supportive culture. It's something you'd have to come see to believe.
Well, you make a good product that works, and you make it easier for people to use, and go figure it.
It works.
Yeah, exactly. But hey, thanks again for the time. Look forward to seeing you at one of the shows that I always bump into you at. But hey, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to be back. Greg Garrett is the CEO of CGS Advisors. This is the IT and the D Show.
Hey, we'll be right back.
IT and the D. Read, meet, listen. Networking Detroit. One beer at a time.
Hi, I'm Brittany Daniel from The Game, and you're listening to IT and the D Show.
ITinthed.com.
Hey, welcome back. This is segment 3, episode 234, the one and only IT and the D Show. We're having a ball here in Studio 1 in Podcast Detroit, beautiful Royal Oak, Michigan. Bob the Sales Guy here with Dave the Geek, Ming Chen from AMC's Comic Book Men, Randy, I do the Twitter's Walker. Find us online, ITinthed.com.
All the things.
Everything is there.
And it's all us.
There's more content. It's 10 years of Dave and I writing
and ranting
and putting blogs up and 250
and being
podcast
mad at
episodes.
people.
Right. We haven't been mad at someone in a long time. We used to write a blog called Don't Be That Guy. I say used to because we haven't wrote one in ages.
Yeah.
And it was every idiot we ever met.
I think we've scared everybody away.
Right. Right. We don't even get the notes anymore on because of LinkedIn. If you go to join our group, it pretty much spells it out like, so help me God, if you tip over that line, we will write about you. I will make you infamous in the Twitters. But hey, we have this is your second time here, right?
It is, yeah.
We again, it's kind of the same thing as Doug. We keep running to you in the shows going, come on the podcast. I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah.
But we got Greg Garrett's in the house. He's the CEO for CGS Advisors downtown Detroit. And welcome to our new digs.
Yeah, thanks. It looks great here, man.
Got the kegerator now.
Absolutely, you do. Although, we finished it, but it's all good.
Right. So diving in real quick, we had you on before, and you remind me a lot of, at least from a consulting side, we had from Tome Software, and it's kind of like what do you do? Well, it's kind of like the Ray Donovan. We fix problems. And it's like we don't really, So I mean, to me, I kind of equate you in that situation where you're kind of looking to kind of change, innovate, disrupt, like all the buzzword du jour, but it's there.
That's right. We fit in there somewhere. Yeah, we help companies transform, and we help leaders be brave in this whole connected world. So there's a lot of buzzwords we can fit right in there. But
let's get the bell out. Each one we're going to hit.
That's right.
No, but I guess give me an example. Like when you're talking connected world, obviously it doesn't stop. It's getting crazier by the minute. Keeping track of everything's getting.
Because now my fridge wants to tell me if I need eggs.
Right.
I don't want my fridge telling me I need eggs.
Well, I mean, some people want their fridge to tell you. At least tell the chicken to lay some more eggs.
Right.
One of the two. But no, I mean, listen, the connected world is disrupting everything. The industries are disrupting. Firms need to transform, and leaders need to be brave. That's those three buzzwords. You can ring it 3 times if you want. There you go. Thanks. But really, sometimes clients are calling us because they see the world is connecting and they want us to help them transform. Sometimes the clients are calling us to help with some project that looks like help us talk to our customers better or roll out a new CRM piece. We need some help getting the organization aligned to this. And they're not really speaking in that connected language, but we're thinking that's exactly why they're doing it at the heart.
We talk cars all the time. Maybe
sure.
you're a good person to ask of something like this. So cars are going in 2 different directions as far as I'm concerned. You have one camp, which is connected vehicle, getting cars to talk. Then you have the autonomous crowd that wants cars to be autonomous. What's your take on is this the VHS Betamax argument, or is someone going to win that race, or or both are going to move forward together?
Well, I mean, I think that they're interrelated, right? The connectivity of the vehicle is likely going to enable the autonomy of the vehicle, but at the end of the day, there's going to be a lot of functions of moving goods and people that autonomy is going to be a great objective to drive that out. And there's going to be other pieces that, at least for some time, that are not going to be as easy. But over the haul, I mean, how many times have you been in a car that you don't want to be driving it? There's probably at least a handful of those times.
The really, really small ones.
Yeah, okay. That's fine. That's fine. Inside of cities, I just read an article that said Uber and Lyft are both trying to influence legislation that says inside of large cities that they only should be fleet-oriented autonomous vehicles allowed in them someday, because you're not going to want to have a lot of different integrators basically inside of a city that has high population, a lot of vehicles. So they're positioned to say, Lyft, Uber, we will be the operator of these autonomous vehicles, so the government only needs to interface with a single provider.
Let us be your monopoly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the maple syrup mafia.
Right.
Dirty Money. If you haven't seen that on Netflix, watch it. It's the maple syrup mafia from the Quebec. Phenomenal.
And what is it? Episode 4.
They monopolized. Yeah, they basically took over maple syrup. It's
hey,
good. Yeah, exactly. Someone's got to do it.
Sounds good.
But like with the, that's the thing with the autonomous cars though, that I don't like, either everything's got to be all in or it doesn't.
See, that's my whole thing is I keep coming back to two things. One, I don't know how you have autonomous vehicles that are completely driven by logic on the road at the same time as you have human-driven vehicles that are driven by us idiotic meatbags. Yeah. Like if you could do a clean sweep and wipe all the old cars off the road and just replace them all with autonomous vehicles, great. I'm all in. But because you can't, that leads to the big question, which is who gets sued? Because this is Merca. And we sue people here.
Legislation is going to be a big piece of it for certain. But I think you're onto something that, first of all, transition is going to be the challenging piece. And then a lot of people are going to make a lot of money. A lot of people are going to lose a lot of money, but there's going to be a lot of attention to that for a long period. And the other piece is private campus or small regions are going to be, maybe not even small, but regions that are identifiable and controllable are going to be likely places that autonomy will be able to go kind of to that full effect off the road. But the other piece on autonomy, I'm sure you've had other people speaking to this about level 0 through 4.
Yep.
And there's kind of feature-based autonomy of autonomous for long distance, autonomous for particular functions like parking. I mean, that's a very simple one. And so those are a lot of the bridges that are going to start being built. But if I knew the exact way that it was all going to roll out, then I probably wouldn't be sitting in the studio right now,
right.
somewhere else. But there's a lot of opportunity, a lot of disruption that's happening.
Are you saying if you were better, you would not be here?
No, that's not it. That's not it.
Just kidding. So what other, I guess, use cases, applications are you using this disruption to this conversation you're having? I mean, obviously auto's the big one here because we're in Detroit, but I mean, what are some other use cases, applications you're looking at?
Well, so I mean, connectivity and the whole digitization of pretty much everything is happening everywhere, right? So it's not forgiving to any industry per se. The thing that's gotten myself and my colleagues and a lot of our key clients the most interested is actually industry to industry hands off. Where if you take that car, that consumer that sits in the vehicle, no matter if he's driving a connected vehicle or sitting in a semi-autonomous connected vehicle. That person is also, you were talking health earlier. That person might be a patient. That person may be a shopper. Mm-hmm. And looking at these edges of the industry are taking the human being, put them in the middle. That's why we call it connected world instead of IoT. We like to keep the human in this world, not just a bunch of machines. And looking at some of these logical handoffs is something that we're spending more and more time talking about, is how does the world really connect, not just a single industry or a single company? How's the integration between these things starting to happen?
So you mean it's patient stuff. So I can get my doctor to like call me on my car saying your blood pressure is too high when I'm driving. Like
exactly, Bob White. Bob, get off 696. Bob. Get off.
Take it even further, and your insurance can go up while you're driving with your blood pressure high because you're a high risk candidate.
Right, sitting yelling in traffic.
Absolutely.
Your mother calls, keep your swearing down, Bobby. Sometimes, it's getting to the point of sometimes I just want to unplug and I can't. Like we always argue about this all the time. Like we bought we're all into the 1984 thing. Don't you dare take away my Alexa. Don't you dare stop listening. Don't you dare spy on me. But don't you dare take away, don't you.
But you better be listening when I need something.
Right. Don't you dare
but
take
don't
away
record
my GPS, but don't you dare track me. It's like you can't have it
both ways.
No,
right?
you can't.
Exactly. Well, I think that Michigan's an interesting state with as much of, coastline that we have. And if you look at the maps of all the green space that we have up north, I think that Michigan's a great place that we should be running campaigns of, disconnect to connect type of thing. We need more retreats up north. We need more places that people actually can put down some of those pieces and communicate to try to make connections, really human connections, really happen. But
never heard of it.
I know. Dude, I mean, you and I both have kids the same age, and I mean that they got thumbs like Popeye, but they can't. Sometimes they can't carry on a conversation with people.
No, it's my thing. My daughter's gonna have like Rain Man Vietnam flashback nightmares when she gets older, for me yelling at her not to be a goddamn cliche. I go, you are a walking cliche right now. I don't even know if she knows what that even means. But
exactly, yeah, you're watching your iPad while you're watching YouTube on the TV, and it's two different. One's a YouTuber and one's a YouTube about the YouTuber, and then you got the phone, and then on the phone you got you're texting with the emojis about the YouTuber, and yeah,
that's not fake.
That's life.
That's the actual thing going on right now.
I teach a lot up at Oakland University, and I lecture to younger kids as well. And when I'm speaking to the high schoolers, I always ask them a question of when did they get their first mobile phone or mobile device? And the average age over the last 10 years is reduced now. I think the last time I asked them, the average in the class was third or fourth grade is when they've got these things.
Well,
so it is, and those are high schoolers. So now if I went down, it's crazy.
Verizon charges me less right now to my family.
Yep.
To have 4 phones than 2.
Yeah.
So there really wasn't a point for me not to get one for my 11-year-old when I got my 13-year-old one. I'm like, wait a minute, our bill is less as a collective, as a family.
Oh yeah.
So now we, on the weekends, I always say, who's leading the house in data usage? I just checked. It's me. It's me.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like the one kid is like, is neck and neck with me. And then like the other one, the 11-year-old, maybe like 0.01 gigs, like not, it doesn't even care.
Out playing sports and meeting girls instead of real life.
I have girls, I don't know. I hope not. Or maybe you know what? I would love her either way.
As long as they're not losing, you're all right.
Exactly.
It's all good.
But no, it's again, it's like we want all this cool technology. Like I didn't hesitate to buy an Alexa, and then we bitch about spying. It's like, well, we had a show once where Nuri, he's not here today, but he looked up his account's activity on Google.
Yeah, because he had Google Home. Yeah,
he had his Google Home, kept the recordings on there, And he was playing them, and he thought nothing of it. It was basically his girlfriend yelling songs to play. Hey, play
Google
Queen.
Play
Okay,
Fat
Google.
Bottom Girls.
Right. Okay, Google.
Like
play.
87 times. Yeah, because that's what she does to mess with them.
But I go, wait a minute. We had this revelation like going, wait a minute. When is because OK Google should be the trigger to start recording. But she's saying, okay, Google, so it's recording before, it's always recording.
It's always recording.
And we're like, oh my God, like this whole room, like basically had a collective.
What?
Always listening.
Yeah,
right?
but again, who's listening? And I keep joking about this too. I said, great, listen to Food Network all day and me yelling for my kids to bring me some Funyuns. You have fun sitting in your sock in your intelligence bunker, listening to Mario Batali teach me how to make crepes.
Didn't we wanted to take a TV somewhere and just put it in one of the studios just so you had TV and Alexa and just play like radical Al Jazeera at the Alexa
and Hitler's speeches
and see how long it took for somebody to show up.
Or until there's like a black Suburban across the street of the dry cleaner.
Yeah, suddenly it's not a joke when there's an FBI surveillance wireless network.
Right,
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
That's right.
So you want to be an author, I hear?
Yeah, that's I've been teaching this course with my 7 years ago I founded CGS and convinced my then boss to join me in the endeavor. His name's Warren Ritchie, Dr. Warren Ritchie, and we've been advising clients in this space for 7 years now, and along the way we started teaching course. And what we realized is not everybody needs or can find or desires to have us come in and do a one-off advisory engagement. But we think it's an important message to talk about competing in the connected world. And so we started writing down some thoughts, and publisher has agreed to publish the book. So no dates yet. I'd love to come back and talk to you about the details of it at some point. But the main premise is kind of what I said before, all those buzzwords, but with a few models and pictures in there, and see if we can't help leaders of a
lot of Venn diagrams, infographics.
Right.
Yeah, maybe a few of those. We'll see.
But yeah, definitely would like to have you back. And that's the one thing that always boggled my mind. Like when we had Tome Software in, and his big disruption was like finding injured bicycle riders. And I'm like, wow, like you're peeling that onion back to like that is, and he has a phenomenal application that he wrote.
Jake's great. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like, where did that even come
that niche within a niche
mind?
within a niche within a niche?
Where you're sitting there going, okay, we're fixing problems. This is a problem, and then actually fixing it and causing change.
But that's a perfect example of what he's doing, at least as I understand it, of two industries that never really needed to speak to one another before. There was a reason to, because there was injury, but I mean the bike manufacturing industry and the car, basically the vehicles that own the roads.
Right.
And those two industries, yes, they both had rubber and they ran on asphalt and whatnot, but there wasn't much of a way to get those two together, and now this technology is starting to bridge those and to a lot of pieces.
Yeah.
So I mean, here's my big takeaway from when we talk about change, and obviously change is inevitable. Just like horse buggy makers went out of business when the car came into. What is going to happen? There's three industries that are going to completely turned upside down and get destroyed once we have 100% autonomous vehicles on the road. Municipalities are going to be severely underfunded because right now you have the cops sitting at the no turn on red sign right around the corner, like just picking people off like
writing Bob a ticket every 2 weeks.
I swear to God, I donate more money to Hazel Park and Madison Heights, no turn on red. And they never give me points because they know I'm going to come back for more. Like the fat guy at the buffet.
You speed safely, obviously. That's
right.
good, yeah.
But if you think about it, auto body shops, right, repair shops, and insurance, right? So you look at those three industries, they're gone.
Law.
So
what?
Lawyers.
Right. Well, I mean, you're going to get taxed per mile, apparently.
Well, no, but you're gonna kill the ambulance chasing industry.
Right. Oh yeah. Lawyers is the next
Yeah.
one. Yeah, totally. Because the injury game. Well, but then again, figuring out who to sue might be the next big thing.
Right.
They'll figure something out. Those curmudgeons.
Shysters.
Yeah. What's your take on that, though? Is that pretty on point? So if you think about it, if you no accidents, no speeding tickets, no turn on red tickets.
Yeah.
So
and no DUIs.
No DUI, right?
I think you can take that and you can continue down. So most of those vehicles that will be autonomous will be electrified, and the complexity of the vehicle itself will be much simpler, which will change the entire service garage, regardless if it's autonomous or not. There's only like 5 or 6 moving parts on these autonomous vehicles in the future, where right now you got a lot more that can be
Yeah.
replaced. But the example you gave is a great, Detroit example. But that same change is happening to every industry. And if you look back in time, those are technological discontinuities, is what the academics would say out there, right? I mean, you're making a technology-based a reason for industries to be completely shattered, and all of them. It's the same as we say in the book, as we've said in the class. It's the same as steam power, when steam power was invented and then started to permeate across industry to industry, or electrical generation and distribution. It's at that same level. It's just that the silicon, started 60, 70 years ago, right? And started building up, and it's now stacked on top of it. And everybody talks about the accelerating value, but we're at a tipping point now, and that's really why we think it's changed. So yeah, absolutely. The industry examples you gave are spot on.
Well, I argue also with McDonald's kiosks. It took our jobs. And I go, wait a minute, you got to think about something. There needs to be a company that manufactures those. You need GUI designers, software coders to make the software to run it. You need people to install them, to repair them. I go, those are net new jobs. And I go, you're not going to fire anybody because you still need people to expedite the food, right? You're quickening the process. And I go, you're creating a better experience. If you think about it, no one's going to mess up your order because you did it. And you still need people bringing so I mean, you're not losing jobs, you're gaining net new jobs.
Yeah, well, I think there may be some job. There's a lot of job reports out there, and if you look at the UN put a study and talked about a huge percentage of job decrease, and there's a counter study showing that there's going to be an increase. But it also goes back to that transition, right? It's there's going to be a period of time that it's going to feel disruptive because of what is normal today and has been normal for a long while is going to change. The piece, we've got a guest lecturer in our class that comes in, and the stat he shared, which I think is maybe part of the disturbing part of that disruption, is a very large percent. I won't give quotes, but it's something close to 50% of minority males' jobs in this country are driving things. If it's driving a forklift or driving a long haul truck or driving a taxi, it doesn't matter. If you believe that autonomy is coming at some point, and you believe
interesting,
that's a huge demographic segment that will be affected. And I think that this country and the citizens and really technologists in general that are probably part of that whole trend, we need to think about how that's all going to play out.
Well, you look at non-skilled jobs aren't existing anymore. Like my dad and uncles and everybody, all the old Germans were all tool and die makers.
Yeah, sure.
And back then you needed to be a tool and die maker. You learned as an apprentice. All the guys now are basically computer operators. There's nothing they don't do without a computer attached to what they're doing.
Sure.
So it's like you took a non-skilled industry and made it a skilled industry. And that's kind of what I'm seeing. Like, we talk about driving. Yeah. That's like one of the last, non-skilled, but every economy needs a non-skilled base, I
mean, look at what we got going on with the Career Academy. I mean, we had 100 people that were in, whether it was, retail jobs that have gone away or other industries that have, gone away, whatever, that are going through and getting their A+, Net Plus, Security Plus, certs to go get a job in IT. That you got to evolve. That's how this works.
Yeah. And the apprenticeship piece is something that's only going to need, we're going to need to employ a lot of that same type of thinking into the technology space. But you just one last comment on it. When you mentioned the services industries and the body shop days, certain of those jobs are certainly going to go away, but a lot of them are just going to transform. So the person that used to be, under a hood with oil up to his or her elbows, fixing an engine will probably be something that looks a lot more like someone sitting behind a desk, typing on a keyboard or moving a mouse, to be able to fix that.
Yeah, diagnostics and readouts.
Yeah, exactly. But reflashing a vehicle is going to be the new norm of working on the mechanics.
My car's broke. Did you reboot it?
Yeah, have you turned it off?
Did you try Google?
Have you turned it back on?
So how do we find you online, Greg?
The innovation stuff, you can look at connecteddetroit.com. Take a look at what we're doing out there, and I can be found at cgsadvisors.com.
And when you got your book out, you're welcome back anytime.
Yeah, absolutely.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks for the time. Thanks for being patient and having a pretty long show.
Absolutely. You got a great one tonight.
Yeah. But yeah, we're going to wrap things up. Episode 234 here, the IT and the D Show. Want to thank our sponsors, Google and Google. Appreciate the support. Want to thank Ming Chen. You can catch him on AMC's Comic Book Men after The Walking Dead. Always a fun show. If you haven't seen it, set your DVR if you don't want to stay up late. That's what I do because I can't stay up that late. But thanks, Doug Copley, Duo Security. Greg from CGS Advisors, on behalf of Bob, Dave, non-existent Nuri, and Randy, do us a favor, drink up your drinks, get your phone numbers. You don't got to go home. You just got to get the hell out of here. See you next week. Drive careful. Beat it.
The emergency destruct system is now activated.
Conan, what is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
Long live Flash! You've saved your Earth. Have a nice day.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum. Nice shooting, son. What's your name? Murphy.
Make the run. The run.
Game over, man. Game over.
It's over, Johnny. It's over.
Nothing is over. Nothing. You just don't turn it off.
I can't say no, and I don't really want to, so.
Well, especially with the back doors open.
Yo! Hold up! Time out! Time out! Y'all take a chill. You need to cool that shit out. And that's the double truth. Ruth.
Bob loves it in the can.
I hope this was as much fun for you as it was for me.
That's why I like it in the can.
Joe on the trees.
Bear me.
My job is to make sure this program is morally upright and cultural and wholesome.
Shut up, Mimsy! Shut up, Mimsy! Shut up, Mimsy!
Why would, Buick put their cars next to, the Bentleys? Why? That's not marketing. The alphabet. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I can't take that position.
That analogy sucks because it's right.
Because you're getting your 8-track tuned up.
Are we at a break yet? Yeah, so now I'm just doing stupid stuff to make me laugh.
Venture capital is not the end game.
When are we going to talk about me?
Jane, you ignorant slut.
It's my show. I can say what I want. Yeah. Kiss my ass, go home, unplug, get off the goddamn internet. You are everything that is wrong with the internet right now.
You're so white right now.
I'm the whitest guy in the room. Just explain it to me.
I love this city. I was banging on the wang.
Really? Should we talk about this? Tag team it. Should I keep going or should I stop?
Can I just say, it's been great being on a show that talks about Mickey Rooney dying for 20 seconds and then poop for 10 minutes.